A few days ago, I heard of the death of Humberto Maturana at the age of 92. He was a Chilean biologist who had been called one of the most important scientists of our age. I'm very fortunate to have heard him talk and actually had some short conversations with him at a systems science conference that I attended about 10 years ago. So he formulated theories about how life happens that are also relevant to talking about family violence. So Maturana was a biologist, but he wrote about love as a living process that arises when we live in harmony. So he says, only love expands intelligence. To live in love is to accept the other and the conditions of his or her existence as a source of richness, not as opposition, restriction, or limitation. He also says, love is the grounding of our existence as humans, and it's the basic emotioning in our systemic identity as human beings. Now note there he used the word emotioning, a verb, an action, on purpose to show that love is an action, something that we do rather than an object that is. Now, Maturana says that all living creatures must be able to sustain themselves, repair themselves, and protect themselves within the body. It sustains itself by maintaining a flow of matter, energy, and information through its body. Now, life exists on many levels, from single-celled creatures right through to human beings. So, as human beings, we have physical, emotional, mental, social, and some people would say spiritual aspects to our being. Human beings must be able to sustain themselves at each and every level. So we need a continuous flow of food on the physical level, relationship and interactions on the emotional and social levels, and ideas and concepts at the mental level. Each of these levels have boundaries. So our skin is the physical boundary, but we also have emotional, mental, and social boundaries. So violence can be seen as invading a boundary with the intention to cause harm or interfering with a necessary flow through any of the levels and the boundaries. So hitting somebody is an invasion of the physical body. Calling someone names is an invasion of their sense of identity, which arises from our social connectedness. Isolating somebody or denying them reasonable food, money, contact with others, or whatever is another form of invasion. Maturana also writes about how living beings become coupled together in interactions where each influences the other. I notice your reaction of me, noticing my reaction of you, and so on. It's a bit like one of those infinite mirror pictures. Often a conversation can just get worse and worse as one thoughtless comment triggers another, more and more nasty comments until there's an argument, and it could even end up with violence. We can learn to recognize those runaway patterns and find better ways of responding. We then avoid arguments and remain in a more loving connection with other people. Now, the final idea from Maturana that I would like to talk about is the idea that our body and its capabilities shape the way that we respond to situations we find ourselves in. So, in any action we undertake, it's done through changing our body in some way. Even when we're thinking and having emotions, that comes from our brain, which is a part of our body. And so once we've had an emotion and our thought, we then choose to act through our body. But our body's got limits. We can only notice so much, understand so much, and do so much. Errors are built into our body and our being. We'd like to always get things right, but actually that's impossible. We have to accept our limitations and the limitations of other people. taking responsibility for our own actions and finding the balance between tolerating other people's limitations and setting clear boundaries where they are needed.